What's up guys, Braden here with SuperATV, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install SuperATV's premium soft cab enclosure on this Honda Talon 1000. So let's get right to it. The first thing you're going to do is come right here to this point. Go ahead and remove your factory hardware. And right here you're going to remove your factory hardware, then you're going to drill this hole out to accept an 8mm bolt. And then you're going to remove the factory hardware from this point as well. Once you've done that, you're going to grab your door frame, your upper door frame. We're going to lay it up here. We're going to use our M8 by 55mm hardware with the hex head. We're going to use the M6 hex head bolt in the kit for here as well as here. Take our door frame. Again, we're going to use the M6 hex head for here. Right here in the center, we'll use our M8 by 55mm bolt. So this machine has previously had a premium soft cab on it, so all the hook and loop is already installed, but what you're gonna wanna do is install hook and loop from this point all the way down to this point here. So as you can see, it runs all the way around the cage, all the way down to this point. Once you've done that, what I like to do is cut just a little slit right here in the hook and loop. That way we can remove these two bolts. So these are the rearmost cage bolts. We're gonna go ahead and remove those two bolts. And then we're also going to come right here to where the cage connects in the center and remove these two bolts. So we're going to do that now. So now we're going to grab two M10 by 45mm bolts, two spacers, and two of the M10 nylock nuts, as well as the frame. So what we're going to do is install the frame to the rearmost cage mounting bolt holes. What you'll do is you'll take your bolt, slide it through, grab your spacer, slide it up here like this, and then you're just going to take it and install it just like so. So one thing that you're probably going to run into is that it's going to be kind of difficult to get the hardware back in the cage, just because you've taken the hardware out, the cage is probably sprung. So I'm going to show you a trick on how to get the cage back in shape. That way the bolts will go back in. So I'm going to grab two straps, two axle straps to be specific. I'm going to loop them around the cage like that. And I'm going to come back here to the back. We're going to loop them in the same manner as we did the front. Just going to try to make our straps as short as possible because we really don't have a big distance that we're pulling here. Take a ratchet strap, hook it through. Like that. Now we're just going to crank on this until we get it lined up enough to where we can get our frame installed. Take your hardware, slide your spacer on the hardware. You might have to take a punch or a chisel or a screwdriver or something as well to kind of get the hole lined up enough to where you can get your hardware in. Once you get one bolt started, the cage will kind of be lined up. Or you can take your other spacer, wiggle the ratchet strap, so we can get it to go. And once you have everything in, you can go ahead and take your strap loose. Go ahead and get everything removed off the cage and get it out of the way. And we'll take our M10 nylock nut, go around here to the back side, Just gonna kind of let everything lay just like that. Now we're gonna grab our universal clamps out of our kit. You will have to install the heat shrink to your clamp itself. It's no big deal, it takes about 2 seconds to do that. Then what we're gonna do is take the clamp, slide it on the cage in roughly this position here for the first one. I'm just gonna run these up. Just take a screwdriver. Just gonna make sure that your hardware there is inside the cage enough to where whenever you go to put your windshield back on, if you had one, it doesn't interfere with it. And same thing for right here. All we're doing is just lining up these universal clamps with the holes on our brackets. I'm just kind of guessing right now. Just kind of getting it close. That's why we're not fully tightening anything quite yet. We're just kind of running it up to where it'll hold itself in position slightly. You see right there, it's going to kind of hold itself. And these are going to line up just like that. Now we're going to come right here and place a clamp as well. Now all three of these are pretty close. What we can do is we can go ahead and grab our Allen-headed hardware and thread those into our universal clamps through our upper frame here. So these are just our M6 button head Allens in the hardware kit. We're not fully tightening anything yet. We're just kind of getting everything started. That way it'll somewhat stay in place for us as we continue the install. Now we're going to grab our mounting bracket for the passenger side, our M10 by 45 millimeter bolts, our spacers, slide the spacer on like so. Biggest thing when knowing which one is which for this bracket is you're going to make sure that this portion here that's bent down with a little hole on it is facing out and towards the front. So now we'll just take our bracket on the center holes of the cage where we previously removed the hardware. Go ahead and slide them through. And then on the back side, we're gonna go ahead and install our M10 nylock nuts. And we can go ahead and fully tighten the hardware here. This will be a 15 and a 15. Now we're going to grab our loop clamp and our M6 by 20 millimeter hex-headed bolt. Slide the loop clamp around the tube of the frame. Line the clamp up with the hole on the mount here. Slide the hardware up through. And install our hardware with our nylock nut. Now we're going to use our 5 millimeter Allen to tighten our Allen-headed hardware that's going into our universal clamps. And we'll use a 10 millimeter socket and a 10 millimeter wrench to tighten our loop clamp. Now we're going to fully tighten our 2 bolts that secure our bracket to the cage for the top up here as well as for down here on the back. Now we're going to grab the upper portion of our enclosure here and start snapping the back portion of it onto our tube. Just go all the way around, clip it on. Once we have it all clipped all the way around, what we'll do is roll back our flap for our hook and loop and just start working the enclosure all the way around and fastening it to the hook and loop all the way around the cage. Now you're going to remove these 2 push pins right here on the side of your machine. Grab the door flap, flip it back down. We're going to line up the holes. Once they're lined up, just pop your push pins through the soft enclosure and back into the plastic on the machine. Just like so. Then we're going to attach the snaps on this portion of the enclosure to our rear panel. And then before we attach this to this up here, there's a rod inside of this door frame. We're gonna line that rod up with the hole on our upper bracket. Now we're gonna grab 2 nylon washers, our pin, and our clevis pin, and we're gonna line up our rod to the hole on our upper frame. So what you do is, you put the pin with a nylon washer through the top. You start this through, then you get the rod lined up. Then you just take your pin, after you put your bottom nylon washer on, slide the pin through, and we're gonna flip our top flap up. Place that in there like so. And that should lay just like that. So that way, whenever your door closes, it has a very nice fit and finish. So then what you'll do, lastly, is take your plate here, your corner plate, get it slid into position so it fills this area in, and then just grab the enclosure, and wrap it right around, just like so. All right, so once you've went through, you've got your enclosure installed to your machine, go back through, make sure that you have it adjusted correctly, make sure there's no places where it's wrinkled up or anything, all the hardware is fully tightened. And that's all there is to it to install SuperATV's premium soft cab on this Honda Talon 1000. Be sure to check the description below to pick yours up today, and while you're there, drop a like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.